Morning everybody. Nice to see you all. I think we're a bit ambitious in trying to fit 3 of us in and 3 of our reflections on the Olympic Games, if you look at your agenda. So I'm going to be very, very quick. So what I was interested in was what I've noticed from the Games. And by the way, it was my 8th Olympic Games. I first competed in 1984, and then I've competed in 3 and commentated on 5. Just an aside, the 84 Games in Los Angeles, nobody else bid to host them, if you know that. But the Games, we talk about the Olympic Games as something that's fantastic and special and commercial, but actually, nobody actually wanted it in 84. In fact, Iran, I think, showed an interest and pulled out in April of 84. So LA got the Games well, because nobody else bid for it. So what have I noticed? 3 things, quickly. They've talked about it enough, I think, and I think the message should have landed around the vision piece and the inspiration piece. And for me in business, the question is, how much do you use that? How much do you use the story of what you do in your company? You know, just to go, I think we forget this in the sort of world of here and now goals and ambition and targets. We forget to remind people and touch in with the meaning of work and the meaning of what our organizations do. So just to refresh that and keep on reminding yourself, actually, this is what service we offer the community, or this is what we do for the world. And don't forget that. And no, guess what? When you remind people every performance update about the numbers and how you're up or down on the numbers, they're not going to be as inspired as you might want them to be. You've got to reconnect with what you're there to do. I think that's very important. There's a difference between inspiring and motivating. And I notice that in business quite a lot. I think people forget to connect the meaning of the organization with the meaning of the person. So why do I work for you? Well, I come to work for you because of the relationship we might have and what our company does and how I fit into it. So the whole piece of line of sight from an individual employee all the way through to the organization's dream is very, very important. And I'm fascinated and disappointed, frankly, in organizations I see to how little attention they pay to the way the organization communicates with itself. I think the way we review performance is usually a pass down or a forward of a document. It's like a 20-page document about here's what we're doing this week, here's what we're doing, here are the stats, here are the numbers. It's impenetrable. And we're surprised that people aren't engaged with performance. They do it very differently in sport. So the first message is you've got a lot of inspiration in your organizations. It's not just the domain of sport. You've got to unlock it, but connect it to the individual on a weekly basis. The second one, I think you've got to change the way you assess talent and develop talent. I think people are doing very different things now, and Peter talked about it fundamentally at the beginning. Ability alone is not enough. And in sport, for a number of years now, they've not just been assessing ability. I've seen through my 8 Olympics, very ordinary people get medals. These are people, I've seen very, very talented swimmers not get medals because, the best physique, whatever. But the one thing that stood out for me is a curiosity and a learning mindset. And they're being assessed now in sport, not just about ability, about having a learning mindset and also resilience. But the learning mindset's interesting because I think we have a chance to change this. If your system is just looking at ability, you've got to change it. Learning mindset, curiosity, humility breeds curiosity. It's the one quality, I've got children, the one quality I want for my children is curiosity. Because Olympic athletes at this level are curious, and it comes from humility. And you can just juxtapose Olympic athlete, soccer athlete, and you'll see the difference. And you see why Olympic athletes are moving on as a fundamental, phenomenal performance from ordinary people. Because they've got a humility leads to curiosity. Put those people in the jobs. Don't just put them in because they're the best salesperson or whatever it happens to be. So the way you assess talent, I think, has to change. And the third and final thing is the way leaders, I've noticed leaders, and it wasn't mentioned here, or Jürgen was mentioned a little bit. Leaders set it up and clear out of the way for the athlete. Now, how often does that not happen in business? So what I mean by this is the leader, they've got the plan, the vision, and start to talk about it, but then leave the athlete to do it. So those of you who know me, and if I've talked about my swimming coach who couldn't swim, he couldn't swim my race for me. What he did was set it all up, get me ready, and then let me perform. At the Olympics, you take it a step further, and actually the leaders not only got out of the way, they spoilt the children. They really created everything, conditions for those athletes to do what they could do. So if you wanted a feather pillow, you got a feather pillow. If you wanted a 7-foot bed, you got a 7-foot bed. If you wanted chocolate at 3 in the morning, you got chocolate at 3 in the morning. Now, I'm not sure if I would do that with all our employees. What's that going to be like if you spoil them? Give them everything they want. You know, the coaches and team managers in the village, we got one of the best blocks in the village, the accommodation block. But every block was going to back onto a rail line. Well, guess who took the rail line rooms? The coaches and the support staff. The athletes got the best rooms because they didn't want to be disturbed. So for me is, how much are you prepared as a leader to step back and give your performers everything they need to perform? The balance is you don't want to spoil them. But so what I've been thinking about as a leader is, what are the performance moments for that particular role, and get them to identify it. What is their moment? What is their start line for that race? What is their, whatever it happens to be, and what are they? And have I and we given them everything they need to succeed in that moment, everything they want. Not everything I think they need, everything they want. Not every day, but just, there might be 3 or 4 real big high point moments of performance you want them to perform in. Analyze it, think about it. Have they got everything they want? And if it's a feather pillow, give it to them. They're my 3 messages, I think, that linked for me from sport into business. And I just wanted to, give you those. Thank you very much for having me.